Morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to day one. Welcome to day one. So, we're going to start off our day with some meditation practice, and I'm going to guide us in a deeply embodied approach to the practice called neurosomatic mindfulness, neurosomatic mindfulness meditation. And this is a deeply embodied and trauma-informed approach to the practice of um, basic classic mindfulness awareness meditation. And so I invite you to begin by establishing a posture that view feels relatively upright, uplifted, awake, and at the same time relaxed and stable. If for any reason of physical limitations you need to do the practice lying down or standing up or leaning against the back of a chair for support, that's perfectly fine. Please do what works for you. And if you are able to sit up on a chair or cushion with a relatively upright posture, that can be helpful, extending the crown of your head towards the ceiling a bit or towards the sky, letting the shoulders relax, letting your shoulders drop. Maybe moving the head back just a millimeter or so, so the head is really lined up over the spine, the ears over the shoulders. Maybe tucking the chin ever so slightly. If you like, you can let the lips be parted slightly. That'll relax the jaw muscle a bit. And allow the breath to move freely through the nose and mouth. If you like, you can also place your tongue on the roof of the mouth, the palate, the upper palate, and that way you'll be breathing primarily through the nose, unless your nose is stuffed up or something. And that also reduces salivation, which can be distracting. And if you find that too distracting to do that, don't worry about it. Okay, so having established your posture, I invite you to close your eyes to begin with for this practice. You can learn to do this practice eyes open. However, to begin with, to connect with the internal landscape of the body, which is a very important part of this approach to practice, it can be helpful to close the eyes. And then I invite you to gently bring your attention to the body. And by body, I'm referencing the actual tactile physical sensations that make up the experience we call body. Whatever you can actually feel. To begin with, all across the surface of the skin, the external field of touch, tactile physical sensation. And you're invited to work with feeling the actual micro sensations that make up this experience we call body. Body is just a word or concept. There's really no such thing, but it points to a lived experience in the moment, a moment-to-moment lived experience. So perhaps beginning with whatever sensations are most predominant for you, it could be the sensations at the contact points between your body and the chair or the cushion, between your feet and the ground, sensations of pressure, tingling, prickly sensations, pins and needles, pressure, warmth, coolness, aliveness, numbness, whatever you can actually feel, the actual micro sensations. Perhaps the sensations arising with the contact between your clothing and your skin, the weight of your clothing, the texture of your clothing. Or sensations arising at the contact between any exposed skin surface areas, like your face or neck, hands, wrists, ankles, and so forth, and any movement of the air where you are or the air temperature where you are. Where I am, it's rather cool, so I'm feeling coolness on the surface of the skin. And of course, the sensations arising and falling away as the air passes across the surface of the skin at the nostrils and or parted lips with each in-breath and out-breath. Making a gentle effort to feel the actual sensations, the micro sensations that make up our experience of being alive in this body. And as we do, cultivating attitudinal qualities of gentleness, curiosity, openness, non-judgment, self-acceptance, beginner's mind, just sense of freshness, openness, and perhaps most importantly, curiosity, a deep longing to really know ourselves, come to know ourselves as deeply as we can. And we could even challenge ourselves, like, how directly can I experience sensation on the surface of the skin all across my body right now? With what level of detail, clarity, vividness? And you may notice that your brain will, in the activity of consciousness moving through the brain, we call mind, your brain will very quickly replace direct experience with concept because the brain has to economize its energy. So it's always economizing. It works on predictions, assumptions, and it replaces direct experience with concept. So if we're out walking and we notice a tree, do we really connect with that living entity, the tree, or a bush, or someone walking by, walking their dog? Do we really connect with that person or their dog? Or does the brain quickly replace those direct experiences with the archetypal image of tree, or perhaps oak tree, elm tree, pine tree, or person or dog? That's what the brain does, and that's just normal. And to awaken, we need to be able to move through that conceptual layer into direct experience. And it requires a gentle effort. However, the more we contact that more direct, vivid, actual, alive, awake experience, it begins to become compelling enough to hold our attention, and it will require less effort. But initially, it requires a bit of effort, gentle effort, always gentle, but effort, consistent, because we're up against the momentum of the brain's uh, habitual pattern and really even the way the brain operates of wanting to replace direct experience with concept. So focusing on feeling the sensations as directly as we can. For example, with the air passing across the nostrils, the surface of the skin at the nostrils, all the little micro sensation with each in-breath, and realizing each in-breath is unlike any other in-breath we've ever experienced. So experiencing the freshness, the uniqueness of that in-breath and the micro sensations that make up what we call in-breath. And again, in-breath is just a word, a concept. Same on the out-breath. All the micro sensations we can feel as the air flows out of the body, across the surface of the skin at the nostrils. And notice how quickly the brain will want to collapse that experience into just in-breath or out-breath or just breath or nostrils instead of staying with the actual micro sensation, feeling them. So that's the practice we're inviting here, a gentle effort to actually feel sensation, tactile, physical sensation. And gradually extending your awareness all across the surface of the skin from head to toe, back, sides, and front, top and bottom, such that we begin to feel enveloped in a field of tactile physical sensation at the boundary between our body and the space surrounding us. We can feel sensation all across the surface of the skin. And we generally imagine the space surrounding us or assume it to be empty, but upon reflection, we know that it's not empty. It's made up of gases, many different gases, oxygen and nitrogen, other things. And it's also full of energy. We are actually a matrix of energy situated in a larger matrix of energy. And our subtle electromagnetic field of the human body extends out 6 feet in all directions. And it's strongest right near the surface of the skin. And so we can feel that. And I invite us to begin to feel ourselves surrounded in this field of energy, feeling sensation all across the surface of the skin from head to toe. And to regard this space that we're held within as benevolent. And we can actually feel supported and nurtured by the space surrounding us, because it's the energy of life. So as we weave together an almost womb-like structure of sensate experience, external sensate experience, with our awareness, with our attention, we can begin to feel held or embraced within this field of sensation. And then within that, we can relax further and begin to explore the internal landscape of tactile physical sensation inside the body, within the body. So this includes actual sensations, again, focusing on feeling the micro sensations that make up this experience of being alive in the body. So feeling the weightiness of the body, the force of gravity holding us down on the earth. Feeling all the sensations that accompany each breath as the air flows in and out of the body of its own accord. We're just letting the breath be as it is. We're not controlling it or manipulating it in any way. Just allow it to be as it is. And we can feel the diaphragm muscle contracting and relaxing, the large dome-shaped muscle beneath the lungs that properly drives the breath. And we can feel some involvement of the abdominal muscles, the oblique muscles, the intercostal muscles between the ribs, allowing the rib cage to open and close with each in-breath and out-breath. So we're feeling that entire flow of sensations as the air flows in and out of the body with the natural wave-like motion, just like waves lapping at the seashore. So feeling that flow and resisting the brain's tendency to want to just collapse it into, oh, there's the breath. So we're focusing on feeling. How in many meditation instructions, we're invited to notice the breath or notice the body. And that's fine, but here we're going deeper. So you're invited to actually feel the sensations, the actual tactile physical sensations that make up the experience we call body and breath or breathing. Perhaps you can find your heartbeat and feel the subtle sensation of the heart beating away in your chest. A trustworthy heart beating away 24/7, pumping life-giving blood and oxygen, nutrition throughout the body. And you're also invited to be open to and willing to feel any areas of discomfort in the body. Stiffness, aches or pains, tension. By focusing on feeling sensation, you'll likely notice the mind is starting to quiet down. And this is really the key leverage point of neurosomatic mindfulness meditation. There are many neural networks in the brain, but two come into play here. When we direct our attention, we activate what's called the task-positive network, which modulates another network, the default mode network. The default mode network is responsible for the chatterbox between our ears, a very noisy, discursive mind. It has its purpose, but in modern life, for most of us, it's way too busy, and we have this chatterbox between the ears that makes it difficult to practice meditation when we first begin. And struggling with that is counterproductive. We want to just let it be, just let thoughts come and go. But by focusing on feeling sensation, we're activating the task positive network, which has a mutually inhibitory relationship with the default mode network. So to the extent that we bring the task positive network online, the default mode network starts to go offline quite naturally, and we'll find our mind beginning to quiet down. So focusing on feeling sensation, whatever sensations you can feel throughout the body, externally and internally, and very importantly, internally. So we're awakening and gaining access to a faculty known as interoception or interoceptive awareness. Interoception is simply short for internal perception. So we experience sensation on the surface of the skin through exteroception or external perception, as we do our other senses of sight, sound, smell, and taste. We can also experience sensation inside the body through this faculty known as interoception. And of course, we're all very familiar with this, even if the word is new to us, because this is how we know when we're thirsty or hungry, when we're sleepy, tired, when we need to use the restroom. It's how we experience discomfort in the body in the form of a headache or muscle pain or indigestion. However, absent discomfort, most of us ignore the internal landscape of the body, much to our own detriment. We've been enculturated into the West to lead very disembodied lives, to be up in our head most of the time. We're very visually and auditory oriented, and we have these very busy minds. So we tend to live up here and ignore the body. And it's really important to come home to the body. So here, breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat, we're coming home to the body, cultivating a willingness to feel whatever's there. And the entire body is sensory, all the way down to the bones and including the bones, all containing neuronal cells connected to the central nervous system. The bones, the marrow of the bones, circulatory system, the muscles, connective tissue, all the major organs, the glands, the lymphatic system, the endocrine system, all sensory. So there's this vast internal somatic landscape that we can explore, and focusing on feeling sensation at ever greater depth with ever greater clarity, vividness, detail, and subtlety. Now, if you like, you can focus on particular areas in the body, or you could do a body scan, perhaps bringing your awareness to the soles of your feet and gradually moving your attention and awareness up through the body all the way to the crown of your head. And you can also just sort of globally open to this internal field of sensate experience. You can work with all these different approaches. It's sort of like just opening the door to this internal landscape, and gradually it emerges into our awareness with ever greater clarity and vividness, detail, subtlety. Layer after layer of this rich somatic landscape of sensate experiences revealed to us, emerging into our awareness. And we can feel the aliveness throughout the body from head to toe, inside and out, the flow of energy and information flowing throughout the body. Our body is a electromagnetic, chemical, biological, spiritual phenomena. And it's all energy. And we can feel that flow of energy. As we can feel the breath and feel the heartbeat, we can feel this dynamic flow of energy from head to toe. It's really just a question of relaxing into it, tuning into it, opening to it, allowing it to emerge into the field of awareness. And the more vividly we feel this internal landscape of the body, this direct sensate experience of the body, it anchors our attention and nowness. And it becomes easier and easier to simply rest in pure presence, beingness. Over time, as we relax further and further into the body with deeper and deeper awareness, the various energy systems in the body, which all emit energy at different wavelengths. We have our brain waves, our heartbeat, how many breaths per minute, all of that, but also all of the organs, the glands, all emitting energy, all the nerve plexus throughout the body, the different energy centers of the body, all emitting energy. And these different fields begin to map onto each other and cohere. And we begin to experience this as a deeply felt resonance, coherence, or flow that's palpable. And we can rest our awareness in that flow and remain present with less and less effort. It requires effort to begin with, but over time, less and less effort. By continually activating the task positive network by feeling sensation, the default network is going offline. The mind is naturally quieting down. Our attention stabilizes. This gives us access to deeper and deeper states of awareness and deeper states of flow. So making a gentle effort to feel as deeply and directly as we can, tactile, physical sensation. All the other sense perceptions are there, sight, sound, smell, and taste. We can just allow it all to be there. Let thoughts come and go. Let the breath flow naturally. And focus on feeling physical sensation. This is the doorway into deep attention stabilization, deep awareness, and profound states of flow. And within these states of flow, we'll find our nervous system untangling itself and healing itself, rejuvenating itself. Deeply anchored in the body, we can simply allow ourselves to be, just as we are, willing to feel whatever is there. All of our sensate experience, touch, sight, sound, smell, and taste, thoughts, emotions, all of it continually arises across the spectrum from pleasant to neutral to unpleasant. And generally, with pleasant experiences, the mind of attraction tends to arise, and then that can move into clinging and even addiction, greed. With neutral experiences, we tend to just check out because there's no reference point, so we tend to have the mind of ignorance arising. And with unpleasant experiences, the mind of aversion tends to arise. We want to push away, avoid, that can turn into aggression, even violence. So this is kind of where it all begins right here. And if we can slow down and really feel and relax that tendency for the mind states of attraction, ignorance, or aversion to arise, and just be with the sensations themselves and be willing to feel discomfort. It's easy to feel comfort, and that's a bit sticky, right? Nothing wrong with it, but it's by working with discomfort or unpleasant sensations that naturally wakes us up because we're moving against the habitual pattern of aversion, right? By being willing to feel. So just making a commitment to I'm willing to feel whatever is arising in my experience. And I'm making a conscious decision to no longer live in terror of discomfort and addicted to comfort, but rather just to claim the totality of my very human embodied experience and be willing to feel it all as a conscious human being with curiosity, openness, gentleness, non-judgment, just allowing things to be as they are, meeting each moment, welcoming each moment. Ah, so and that too. So coming home to the body, breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat, and allowing ourselves to simply be and feel, such that the essence of the practice is being and feeling, feeling and being and feeling, feeling and being. Being and feeling, feeling and being. And I invite you throughout the day, as you're enjoying the amazing presentations on the summit or going about your other daily activities, anytime you can remember to do so, just come back to a moment of being and feeling, feeling and being, letting yourself feel whatever you're feeling, even if it's uncomfortable, and relaxing into being. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to prove, nothing to accomplish, just being, pure presence, being and feeling, feeling and being and feeling, feeling and being. Being and feeling, feeling and being. Feeling and being and feeling. So as you're ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes, connect with the space around you, and just rest in the totality of our sensory experience of sight, sound, smell, and taste, and touch with this quality of simply feeling and being and feeling. So we're going to transition now into the next part of our morning practice. We're going to invite Michael Stone to come on and lead us in neurodynamic breath work, which will have a similar quality of being and feeling. So I'm very happy to invite my friend and colleague, Michael Stone, to come on and lead us in neurodynamic breath work. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, Fleet, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Welcome to day one.
Yes, thank you. I'm very excited about the summit.
Yeah, that's really great. And these practices I think help us have the presence to recognize when these various kind of self-limiting patterns arise for us. And then we have the possibility of sort of just letting them go, choosing different alternatives, and really doing the work. But it begins with presence and self-awareness, and meditation and breath work are great ways just to invite more presence into our life. So I'm
Yes.
sure everyone's really going to enjoy the session with you. Have a great session.
All right. Thank you, Fleet.
You're very welcome.
All right. So, for those of you who uh, don't know me, I'm the co-host for the summit, and I have a platform, breathworkonline.com, where I do breathwork for people around the world. And let's start just for a moment by, for those of you who aren't that familiar with breathwork, just explaining just kind of what it is. And it's just basically a general term used to describe any kind of practice that utilizes changes in breathing patterns to improve mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. And it's not something brand new, although has been a renaissance of it in the last half century. It's been around for millennia. In ancient societies, breath was used as one of the principal tools for healing practices, for self-realization, including the pranayamas and the yogic practices. In Buddhism, pretty much every uh, traditional uh, uh, religion or society has used breath to impact our mental states. And it's even in the languages, which is quite interesting in that many of the languages, like for instance, Chinese, qi is air that we breathe and also energy of life. Latin spiritus is both breath and spirit. So this has been around for a long, long time. And today, or these days, what we've done is adapt it for modern technology, for what's going on in the world right now to basically increase its impact and effectiveness. So today, what we're going to be doing is a taster session of breath work. My normal sessions are 1 hour, and so obviously we can't do that this morning. But we're going to do just a little taster session so you get a sense of what's available by just relaxing, being in your body, and breathing consciously just for, it's going to be like 8 or 9 minutes. And the underlying principles are surrender and trust. So basically just allowing whatever wants to happen, and trusting that whatever your experience needs to be today, that's what you're going to get. And what we found over thousands and thousands and thousands of breathwork sessions, and through what people have found through the millennia, is that once we can quiet the ego mind, the constant chit chat, the tens of thousands of thoughts that go through our head every day, and access the deeper parts of our psyche, we all have what I call this inner guiding intelligence, this inner wisdom. We already have all the answers that we need. It's just that we generally cannot connect. These thoughts are just too loud in our head, and this is just kind of like a quiet inner voice. So with breathwork, we quiet the ego mind and connect to that amazing inner resource that we all have. And that's why you don't have to guide the experience. You don't have to set expectations. You just have to breathe and let go. Breathe and surrender. Breathe and allow. And whatever comes up is perfect. And again, today we're going to be doing just a short taster session. So, in the longer 1 hour sessions, there's a full range of experiences that people can have. You can have body releases. Many times we suppress emotions into our body, and then there's this energy that gets stuck. People have visuals. They go back into childhood and re-experience things different ways. They have mystical or transpersonal experiences where they feel oneness with the universe, or past life experiences, or lineage healing, rebirthing experiences. So in these hour-long sessions, all that is available. But today, again, we're going to be doing just an 8 or 9 minute session. So for most people, you'll just be getting into a more relaxed, grounded space. But you may have a deeper experience too, which is fine if your psyche's ready to go. So with the breath, what we're going to be doing is the following technique. You're going to be doing mouth breathing, first of all, instead of nose breathing. In our everyday life, we do nose breathing, but with mouth breathing, it's much easier to move air smoothly. And moving more air through your system is part of how the ego mind quiets down. There's some physiological changes that happen in your body. And also, whenever you're in a release state in your life, your body automatically switches to mouth breathing, so it kind of gives you permission to release. So it'll be in and out through the mouth and full deep breaths, but no tension, no stress. Like you're not pushing it with your shoulders or with your hands or whatever. You keep your body completely relaxed, but do full deep breathing. And for the purposes of today, in the regular sessions, I would be asking you to breathe a little bit faster than normal. But for the purposes of today, just breathe at normal speed, or even a little bit slower than normal is totally fine. Just full deep breaths, either normal pace or just slower and gentler. And you'll just stay with that. And if, as we go through the first few minutes of the music and your body wants to switch breath a little bit, again, that's fine. This is all about trusting your inner guidance. So whatever wants to happen, if the breath wants to change as it gets towards the end and it gets very gentle and change pace, or even breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth or something, that's all fine too. So this is a practice in surrender, a practice in letting go, a practice in allowing life to flow through you in any way that it wants to. And even though it's just for a few minutes. Okay, so we are going to be playing music, so you might want to put on a headset if you have it or something like that. You don't have to. And what you're going to be doing is just doing the breathing technique I just described and just flowing with what wants to happen. And just open your heart. Okay, so and this is going to be an eyes closed experience. You want to close your eyes all the way through. And at the end of it, just leave your eyes closed just for a few more moments. Just do a gentle, short meditation to support you in regrounding. Okay, so if everyone at this point, you can, and if you want to grab a blindfold, that's too, or you can just close your eyes. It really doesn't matter. And just bring your attention inside of your body. Letting go of what happened earlier today. Letting go of what's going to happen later. And just being in the moment, in the now. Just noticing the breath for a minute. And now, deepening the breath. Breathing in and out through the mouth, but taking full deep breaths, but keeping your body relaxed. Feeling the breath expand, your belly expand on the in-breath and go back to normal on the out-breath. Breathing fully and deeply at normal speed, or even a little bit slower than normal, is totally fine. You want it to be a full, deep, but enjoyable breath. Just really taking in the air of life. Breathing fully and deeply, deeply and fully, fully and deeply. Focusing on the breath, just being with the breath. Breathing fully and deeply, deeply and fully, fully and deeply. And just allowing whatever wants to happen in the next 8 or 9 minutes. If your body wants to move a little bit, let that happen. If your body wants to make a little sigh in the out-breath, if sounds want to come out, let that happen. Just allow. Breathe and surrender. Breathe and allow. And in a moment, the music will begin. Now just keeping your eyes closed just for another few moments. Bringing your breath back to normal. Just being with yourself for a few moments. Being in a place of stillness and presence. And if it feels right, just for a moment, putting your hands on your heart, sending yourself love, sending yourself compassion. We all tend to have a very strong inner critic. We should have done this, should have done that. Just taking a moment to send yourself positive energy. Letting yourself really feel it in every cell of your body. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes, but with a very soft gaze, gentle gaze. And just bringing this energy into your day. And just notice, just with 8 or 9 minutes of breathing, did anything shift? And if it didn't, that's fine too. Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel more grounded? And again, in our regular sessions, it's an hour. The music is more intense. The breathing's more intense, but today it was just for kind of a reset. So thank you all for taking an hour out of your day to get this day started this morning. And I wish you a wonderful day at the summit. We have some awesome, awesome talks today. So yeah, have a wonderful day and we'll see you back tomorrow.